All right, happy Monday. I just wanted to kind of go back to our main strategy. What we do here at the Quad Threat AI. And basically, as you see on this chart, we have the JATS Auto GAN line square 144. And what this does is it plots GAN levels. And they're based on the square of 144. And they basically give you daily data and key support and resistance levels. So even on a fast time frame like the 1 minute, we can layer on candlestick patterns and price action to find high probability trades. And so we can dive into this chart and break it down. So you can see here, I have two of them plotted. The orange are 4-hour GAN lines, and the white are daily GAN lines. So we calculate they're calculated using, like I mentioned, the square of 144. And so the slope intersections like 18, 36, and 48 and more, again, they act as dynamic support and resistance zones. So they're perfect for spotting trade setups almost on any time frame. And I like the 1 minute basically because I'm a scalper. So I like to find, so for example, when I'm looking for a trade setup, not knowing what's going to happen, you see the market, see here, this is kind of like, it's going to go back pre-market, right? And you can see I put on the just any candlestick pattern just to show you. So you can kind of come back even here pre-market. Let's just kind of start the day off, what you can do just to keep it real simple on looking for trade setups. So yeah, going back a lot with 1 minute here. Let's kind of squeeze it a little bit and kind of go back. So again, I like to trade at the 1 hour, or the daily, but the 4-hour offer really good setups. So let's get back to the open. Last night, when the market opened during the Asia and time here, you can see that you do get a nice bearish candle here. You could scalp off the daily, but it does rip right back up. You do get another doji in the color flip, so you can see how you can scalp right off the 4-hour. You do get a color flip, kind of in no man's land. You could technically take a breakout trade on this 4-hour, but not the best setup in the world, so that'd be like C, right? But it does go from GAN to GAN. And then overnight, it does this, so you'll get like a doji, another doji here. I guess is they're at their own whatever. There's indecision bars. You do get a flip, so for a C trade, not a whole lot of it is kind of coming down. You had some pressure coming down, but let's just say you're good to take a trade off this 4-hour. It's got down to this 4-hour. And you can see here, you get some, you're still red here. You do get a doji and the color flip, but it's still below the 4-hour. So you can see this is actually would be more of a continuation doji where you could scalp down. Again, this is not the ideal. Now you're kind of all in the middle here. You do get kind of a bounce off the 4-hour where it flips to green. And it does go back up to this daily or to the 4-hour GAN. And you can see how it just respects this area. Eventually comes back down. So again, you can kind of trade this. So as it breaks, you could take a break off going up the 4-hour, scalp a little bit. As it comes down, you could take a breakout trade up the 4-hour. You're not going to get a whole lot out of it. It does snap around a little bit. As we kind of skip ahead more toward London, because you could just do this all day long. Again, this is like 2 o'clock in the morning, New York time. So as the market comes up, you could take a breakout trade here. It's breaking up above the 4-hour GAN. So again, is it your highest probability trade? It's decent. It's breaking above the 4-hour with a lot of strong momentum, like a lot of green candles here. Or I'm sorry, a lot of bullish bars here. And you're getting a GAN to GAN trade out of that. And actually it gets two GAN levels. And you can see here, it comes up here. Now this is where levels you can get snagged here a little bit because let's say you'll get a doji and again a color flip, right? So you could technically get in here and what happens, it snaps up and likely takes you out for a small loss, right? Especially, so then again, if you re-enter, that's kind of like where you get snapped up, but price didn't go anywhere. So that's a case where I likely would have been stopped out, and if you just waited a couple of candles, you could enter right here and get a scalp back down to this, not quite a full GAN. So you could definitely scalp a little bit out of that. It does create some dojis and a color flip, and likely that happened. We has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, but then it came right back up. So likely a stop out trade there. You can see how it comes back up to the 4 hour again, and you have the dailies. I should have mentioned that. So it's nice when the 4 hour and the daily are stacked. You do get a color flip on the Heikinashi with the doji, so you could enter right below the 4 hour and the daily and scalp down to the 4 hour as a good price target. Ultimately, it does continue on. Again, if you're coming down here, you see doji, color flip. Potentially, you could have a long there, but it gets stopped out. This is one of my favorite kind of setups where price actually goes below the 4 hour, dips back up on a retracement, and goes down for a nice scalp. Now, it doesn't go all the way GAN to GAN, but you could definitely scalp a lot, especially pre-market. I love to get where even if you get 50% of the level, so from 50% of this top level down to here, that's plenty of profit. And again, that's 4 o'clock in the morning, New York time, so likely a lot of us aren't even up for that. But as you can see, kind of a no man's land trade here, so that's not a high probability. But again, there's a color flip. It comes right back up to the 4 hour. You could scalp that and get a few ticks out of that. There's a nice breakout trade north here, and then it kind of goes back and forth a little bit, but eventually it does get a GAN to GAN out of this, and you do get a nice double top. So it comes up here, there's a flip. So if you took a breakout trade or a rejection trade off that, you'd get stopped out. But it's again double top where you can scalp down a little bit more. There's a nice breakout trade of the stacked levels here. So we get into, let's kind of get into more pre-market. So you do get a nice, almost like a triple top here. It's kind of far away from the GAN level, but as the color flips, you might be able to scalp a little bit off that. Again, not ideal. What we like to see again is break level retest. There is a opportunity where it does break down a little bit here. It's a little bit above, so there's a breakout opportunity here. And then this is getting a little bit closer to the open. And as you see here, it comes back up. You do get a breakdown here. Market does not get back up to a nice retest, but it does offer at least a decent entry to scalp down to this 4 hour. And then you can see how it bounces around. We're getting closer to, and then this is kind of nice. You get a nice double, and you can kind of go long. So this is another case where when the color flips, likely you're going to get stopped out. So that's where, no system's perfect. So let's say you come here, you go long there. That little wick right there likely takes you out. But if you're patient, again, you can go long. Either you get stopped out for a little bit, or you could have your stop in the right space. Like if you had your stop, let's say you entered with your stop below this, you're likely safe, but it's really close. A lot of times, if I'm in this trade, I get stopped out. I'll try to be as patient as I can, kind of wait a little bit. As you can see, the price is still above the 4 hour. I would likely re-enter and scalp a little bit out of that. But again, we're getting closer and closer to the market. So, but again, that ends up to be a GAN to GAN, and then almost 2 GAN, not quite. So let's kind of skip ahead a little bit. But you can see otherwise, it can be very precise. It doesn't get quite up here. As it comes down, that could be a breakout trade, but it does snap back up. So you'd be a little bit cautious there, but then ultimately that does work. It comes down, and GAN to GAN, and then you do, this is a quick one, it comes double bottom, basically bounces off this GAN level, and you can just scalp up to here. And then this is probably my favorite kind of thing, when you see price go above a stacked area. So you have a 4 hour and a daily, price comes above, and then it retests it. And that's like my favorite, probably A plus trade. Come up and then it fails to get below this level, and so that you just scalp right up to this 4 hour, and then we're getting closer to the open. And you can see, right, you can tell the open because the open gets a little crazy. You do get like a nice 1, 2, 3 pattern at the open, You get some pretty crazy wicks here, which is typical then look at this. So you get this wick down, and then this is kind of tricky price action, a lot of wicks here. Ultimately, this stack level held for a nice long up to this 4-hour zone area. Didn't quite get to the next. Actually, this is actually the pivot high for the 4-hour. The daily is way up here, but you can see how you get a doji and a color flip with a lot of selling pressure coming down. You do have like a opportunity to scalp maybe a little bit north here because you get a bullish Hermione, and then you get like a gamma. And this is kind of tricky. I was actually getting a little bit of balance around here because I was trying to on the live call, even though we ended up doing really well during this phase. Like there's this area, like I mentioned, as the daily. So if it held above this daily, I was going long, and I get stopped out, and then it goes short, and I go short. So then I went long again. So sometimes it can be tricky, but if you navigate it right with micros or just the right position size in your account, it's not too bad because ultimately it will give you what you want. So again, you're going to scalp down, likely get stopped out. Again, this is where it was a little tricky. I wanted to go north, you wanted to go south, then you wanted to go north, and then look, you get a couple of dojis, and then you get a nice, this is where I like too, is it will push down, retrace, and then you get a nice pattern here to scalp, and then the market really had a nice sell-off. And then, let's see, it kept going down, so then you can see how even this 4-hour, you're getting the LV action underneath it. I like it to be above it, but even still, you could take out a breakout trade, but not probably my favorite thing. What I like is you get a breakdown, and then it comes back up. So 1, 2, 3, and then you get kind of a nice double top. So if you miss coming down, it comes back up, and then ideally, if it comes back down, this is where you want to sell because it fails to get above here. So you could sell right below here, scalp down here a little bit, and then you can see you get a nice. This is kind of like a head and shoulders, not kind of a slanted one, but it's 1, 2, 3, and actually even 4 here. So you get 1, 2, 3. 3 is actually down here, kind of flattens up a little bit. This is where people try to catch bottoms. I don't like to do that personally. I do like it when price comes down here. You can see though price just never, it kind of tried to come down to 239, but it failed. So I definitely have a little more confidence in this when it flips. I wouldn't love to go long here, but when it fails to come down again, I'm not saying I'd have a little more confidence in this one than this one, but it's easy to look back. So let's just pretend like I totally missed that. I could definitely see a long at this 4-hour for a good scalp there, and so then you get a nice. So again, if you kind of follow, this would be kind of like a riskier trade. I mean, everything's a risk, but you're definitely, if you get in, you're gonna have a really tight stop here, just below the swing, and it would have worked, but it's always good in hindsight. But again, if you're looking at this, taking a breakout trade, again, we like it when it retraces. So even if you miss this, it does kind of retrace where you get a lot of potential opportunity, and ultimately you get a GANN again, and then GANN again, and as you can see, the rest of the day kind of it rallied, and then obviously you can see where you doji, and you wouldn't be trading by this time anyway, but a great, it's kind of like a best of both worlds. Obviously, a nice sell-off, and then a nice bounce. So I mean, for level traders, today's like an ideal world to trade what we do. So I don't know if these really, if they help or get in the way. I kind of like to have my own, indecision, and I do like dojis a lot, and I use them for either kind of continuation or for where they like peak out at a level. So anyway, that's kind of a Monday's breakdown of how I trade the market, and we were on live on Discord catching this nice, bouncing around, and caught this nice move down, and we took our profit and we were done for the day. We didn't stick around. I was kind of messing around, catching this on just practicing. But anyway, I will be on live tomorrow on Discord. So I appreciate your time. Take care.